Hi, this is Lori, and welcome to my series on adventures in soldering. This is the third and final kit that I received from Keith Lohmeyer to practice my soldering skills. It's a holiday wreath kit, and I thought about saving this kit till Christmas time and show the video at that time of the year. But I also thought it was interesting because I've noticed as I've been looking back at my videos as I've been progressing, each time you kind of see that I'm improving or understanding a little bit better how to be safe or how to do things in a better way. And so I've decided to go ahead and show this holiday wreath kit now, even though it's not going to be Christmas time when this one airs. But it does kind of show how I've been progressing in my own thinking and my own skills. And I thought it made the most sense to show it now. And I've been including this slide because I keep wanting to remind everyone that I'm a beginner at soldering. I'm certainly getting a little bit more experience in doing all these kits here over the last several weeks. But I'm still a beginner and I might not necessarily be showing the best way to do things. So the motto is that if I can't be a good example, then I'll just have to be a horrible warning. So the holiday wreath kit that Keith sent to me, it's kind of a progression in his skill set and making PCBs and thinking about how to make them so that beginning solderers can be successful. And I think he also wanted to make it fun. He uses a 555 timer, has a little potentiometer here, and a switch to turn it on and off. Uses a 9-volt battery to power it. And it flashes back and forth between these red and white lights. And the potentiometer will adjust the amount of the speed of the flashing a fair amount. And you can see he made the PCBs in different colors. It's a very fun project and looks perfect for beginners. So as I've reminded everyone, I'll put a link in the description. But Keith has a blog where he discusses his attempts at the various kinds of projects for a soldering class he does for his local community. And I very much suggest if you're interested in that sort of thing, check out his blog. So this is what's in the kit. Lots of LEDs, PCB, the 555 timer, capacitor, switch, little potentiometer, a trim pot, I think people would call that, and then the battery and some Velcro things to fix the battery, I think, onto the back of the wreath. So it looks fun. It looks pretty straightforward, and hopefully I'll be able to get this wreath working. All right, first step doing the holiday wreath is we'll work on the resistors like we always do. And then I'll kind of work my way out, but I'm going to leave the 555 timer to the end. I have some spare 555 timers if I were to mess it up, but still, I think I'll leave it to the end. I don't know. We'll see how I feel after the resistors, but that's the first one. So as always, even though Keith has labeled these and it's clear that this would be the 4 100 ohm ones, we'll go ahead and just test them out using our multimeter. Put it on the ohm setting. Now let's just check out these ones that are marked 100. There we go. Get the other lead. And yeah, 100. And then this one's marked 1, probably for the 1K. And yep, 0.996K kilo ohms. So that is definitely the 1K, and then there should be a 4.7K. So it's probably this one here, obviously. Now let's see, 47 kilo ohms. All right, so we're convinced of the resistance of these. So I'm going to get them put in and get set up to solder them. All right, I'll just show putting in the last one here for maybe those people who aren't following all of my series here. Little resistors are almost always a part of these kits, and so you bend it like that, and usually you can see the resistor value and you just slide it through, push it in, and then you bend back the legs just a little bit here to keep it in, so that when you have it upside down, it's going to stay. That's a lot of legs all together there. I'm going to have to work around them, but I'm going to give it a go to see if I can solder them all at the same time. So I'm going to put them into my little holders here, and the nice shape here should really hold on to this. The little scalloped edges. I don't think it's going to slide on me very much. In fact, I think I'm going to put it this way. Put the soldering part towards me. That's probably a better strategy. There we go. Okay, I think everything's ready to go. And we'll tin up our tip just a little bit. We'll turn on our absorber. Get the tip nice and silvery. Got my solder wire here. And we'll give it a go here. So we'll place it down on the pad, let it warm up just a second, and then put some in, feed it in. There we go. And that looks good. And we'll work the next one. There we go. And it's a little hard working around all these legs. Okay, let's take a look, see how we did. Looks pretty good. And we'll go ahead and clip them off. I've been trying to learn to use my finger here to keep that leg from flying up in the air as I clip it. Pretty nice. And I think I'll go for the potentiometer next. Alright, so I have the potentiometer here out, and you can see it. It has some distinctive legs, so it'll only go in one way. And then here's the capacitor. It's a good size one. And you can see it's telling us that the short leg here is the negative side of it, and that's marked on the PCB, so we know that the long leg should go into that spot. Alright, so I'm going to put the potentiometer on. There'll be only one way it can go, so we won't have to worry about any kind of putting it in backwards. And I'm going to use some of my tape to hold it in when I flip it over. So I stretch that on pretty tight, and that keeps it in for me. And we'll do the same thing with the capacitor. We'll put the long leg into the plus hole, and we'll bend that back as well. It's a pretty tall one. All right, I guess that'll probably work pretty well. We'll just bend it back, and we'll put that into our little clipper thingies, and then wedge it in with the last one. All right, and let's get going. Check our iron, and we'll put this one on and feed it in just a little bit, and just make sure that that's pretty straight. Feels like it is. I'll go ahead and flow the other one. Alright, it looks good. Let's just make sure it looks okay. Yeah, that looks fine. Nice and straight. So I ended up not using my finger, and strategy I've done before where I've seen people do where you just solder one side and then you kind of reflow it. The way I'm holding boards right now with these clips, I did it a couple times and it works great. You can reflow it and get it nice and straight. But I've started to feel like it might be a little dangerous, so I've decided not to do that. I have another board holder that will flip back and forth, and I think that'll be more helpful for doing that. So when we get to the LEDs, I'm going to try another strategy to do that safely, because I really want those LEDs nice and flat on the board. All right, lots of talking. Let's finish up the potentiometer. So we'll flow it in. And flow it in. And flow it in. Okay. Going pretty smoothly. Let's take a look at that. Take off our tape. Save it in case we need some more. Okay, not entirely flat, but close enough. And that looks great. So let's just clip these off. And probably going to clip these too. There we go. Okay, that's looking good. I think we'll go and pick up the switch here next. Alright, time for the switch. I'm going to put it in this way. You can kind of see how it's positioned. The little button to the side. You could flip it around, so I don't think it really matters. But I'll put it in that way. And then I'm gonna definitely tape this one down really good here. So we want it to be nice and flush with the PCB. So I'm going to kind of press it tight so it stays on. Yeah, that looks good and flat. So I think I've got it tightly pushed. All right, and we'll kind of load it in here. And oops, there we go. Turn on our and these legs are a little bit bigger, so we may have to give it a little bit more time to get warmed up. Okay, got that one. And I'm going to check it real quick and make sure it's still flat. Sometimes when I push on it, I push it out of place. Now that still looks good. You might think I'm a little paranoid, but I've mounted things crooked several times, so I've learned to just start being more patient and taking my time. I'm going to do the other side here, the long one on the other end. Feed in some solder here. There we go. Now we'll get the ones in the middle. Okay, that looks good. Take a look at it. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting more confident with these things, and it's nice and flush. Perfect. Well, I hope it's perfect. We'll find out when we go to to use it if we have it perfect. Okay, now it's time to tackle these LEDs. I'm going to try another strategy because I want to use the approach where I just solder one part, and then as I reflow it, I put my finger on the other side of the board, I'm not going to say underneath, to make sure it's straightened so that it's nice and flush when we get done, because that looks really good. All right, and when you just hang them here, they wiggle a little bit, and as you touch them to solder them, you can end up with them a little cockeyed. But I'm nervous about having it this way, straight up and down, that it's possible you could drop some solder on your finger, and so that's not a good strategy. So I've got a different bowl holder coming, but I thought I'd use my little clippers here, and it's not great for you guys to view, but I can have the board at more of an angle, and then I can bring my finger in such a way that I'm not underneath where the solder is with my finger. So that's my strategy for this one. All right, so let's see if we can try this out and see if this approach will work. The other thing I try is not to put very much solder on here either, just a little, enough to tack it in place. And now I'm going to bring my finger from the other side, reflow it, and straighten it up, and then let go. And let's see how I did. They're nice and flush, flat, and now it won't move, and I can solder the other side. So that's what I'm going to do with the rest of them. The red started at the top, and the long leg is the positive, so we'll put them in the way that they should go, and bend them back like that. And then I'm going to use that same technique and go around the circle. I'll come back when I get that done and show you the outcome. I finished the last ones, and I'll just trim them up. It came out pretty good. It's a little awkward. I hadn't tried to use those before, and I did have to kind of work at it a little bit to kind of figure out the right way to manage. But I think I did a pretty good job. Let me get this in the view here. Getting everything pretty flush to the PCB, straight up and down. So it worked, and I kept my finger out of harm's way, I think, doing it that way. So that worked, and like I said, I have a new board holder that will allow me to flip it back and forth. I've watched another YouTuber Pile of Stuff. He's really great at building kits. And he has a board holder that he kind of flips back and forth, and that way he can have it at an angle so that he's not, putting his finger in danger. So that's coming. It's a pretty cheap one, so it's on its way. I'll do an unboxing of that. Well, anyways, long discussion. So all we have left now is the 9-volt battery and the 555 timer. I think I'm going to connect in the 9-volt battery because we need to put some solder on this side, and that way I keep my iron away from the 555 timer. So that's what I'm thinking of now. Okay, we'll put on the battery connector here, and red goes to positive, so we'll put that one in that hole, and black goes to the negative, obviously, and we'll put that one in that hole. And I tried to do that very carefully. Here, hold on to them. And I'm going to put a little bit of tape here, away from the holes, but enough to hold it on, so that when I go to solder it from the other side, you just barely see those little wires coming through. And we'll leave a nice good amount of solder on there to get it good and soldered on. All right, got it all set in there, and I'll go ahead and get this ready to go and feed in a lot of solder, and do the other one and feed in a good amount of solder. All right, let's take a look at that. Oh, and I forgot to turn on my absorber. Whoops. You can see I fed a fair amount in, and it actually came on the other side too. So I think that's good. We'll pull that off, and I think that's on there nicely, both sides. Okay, the 5-5 timer is the last piece. All right, so we have the 5-5-5 timer here, and when I find the notch, which is right there, and we're going to line it up with the notch on the board right there and slide it in. And I just want to be careful not to bend any of the legs. It went in pretty smoothly for me, you can see. And I'm going to tape it on, some of my tape, keep it from hopefully coming out. We turn it upside down. I think that's in pretty good. And I will set it in. And this, I make sure I look to see how high the little legs come up as I'm kind of loading it in here, just so I can keep an eye on it, make sure it isn't dropped down any. I'm also going to be really careful not to push on the legs. I'm going to push from the side so that so they don't push it down, because it's not on there super tight with that tape. And then I'm just going to do the opposite corners here, and I'm going to take a look at it and make sure that it's all still flush with the board. So look at it carefully, and it looks pretty flush to me. So now it's in there good, so I don't have to worry about it shifting on me or anything. So I'll just get it lined back up again and finish it up. Okay, turn that off and take it off, and it looks like it's in there very nicely. So I think we're ready to test it out. Okay, we've got it all done, and I've hooked up the battery. Keith also supplied some Velcro stickers. I guess we can put, you can kind of mount the battery maybe on the back here like that. And I got my Sharpie out so that I can say that I made this. So I'm going to put my name here on it. So, well, I'm not a very good, I'm left-handed, so my handwriting isn't very good, but I made this. Very proud of that. And let's turn it on and see it go. So there we go. How festive. Oh, wonderful for Christmas. So let's adjust the potentiometer here. I think we can change the speed, if I'm guessing. This is about as fast as we can go. And then let's turn it all the way the other way and see how slow we can make it go. Oh, pretty slow. Wow, that's a lot of fun. So I want to thank again Keith for sharing his library kits with me. And as always, I want to thank you for watching.